here we are with game 3. Let's go to initial reactions from H-Roll.
Oh, it's like, look, there's Overlord and there's Camel Train, so I just want a lot of Overlords, please.
So,
thank you.
Because Overlord is deck cost, you can just get them for... You can Camel Train and then buy them off of the Exile immediately. So, like, would you go Camel Train Scouting Party here?
Let's see. On 5-2 or on 4-3?
On 3-4, I would definitely go Camel Train Scouting Party. You could, like, delve or whatever. I don't know I don't know all the splits. On 5-2, you could go Scouting Party, Camel Train as your opening buy, and then get a nice clean shuffle. Yeah, so Scouting Party, discard 3 estates, and then buy Camel Train, and you got a, shuffle where you're pretty guaranteed to see your Camel Train quickly. And Overlord can be played as count, so there's not really a need to buy a count here.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure either player sees the interaction. Well, okay, I mean, opening an Overlord is one way to...
Yeah, the other nice thing is you can play Overlord as Camel Train to exile an Overlord, so you can buy an Overlord. The only card I want an actual one of probably is... I could see, Labs, because the Lab pile's going to run, or often runs, if the Overlord pile runs, Labs are the next best thing, and you might get one Gladiator to get the free gold, but otherwise, like, Overlord does everything that needs to be done, including play as count. I don't like all the silvers that Elijah has taken.
Savings.
What is the payload for this Megaturn, Andy?
Sorry?
So
what did you say?
If Andy is suggesting a Megaturn Fortune in 5 provinces, how do you get to 20 coins? Okay, so 10 silvers is what you're suggesting, or you get and then maybe a Gladiator play. You need 8 silvers or something.
I mean, you don't need to, like, buy silvers to... You can get them later with Delve. You can get golds with Camel Train. Like, I want to be filling my deck with stop cards right now.
Yeah, like, Elijah here could play Camel Train to exile an Overlord and then buy an Overlord. That seems like a pretty good turn. Even though you're ending in debt, you've got 2 Overlords.
Wow. Snowbz has 4 cards. What?
Yeah, the thing here with Delve is so good at repopulating your deck after you've trashed down that, like, normally you'd say, oh, they're a little too thin, possibly, but with Delve, doesn't seem so. Honestly, that should just be a Camel Train here for Snowbz. Or an Overlord. I guess an Overlord, and then the Overlord, one Overlord is Workers' Village, one is Camel Train, and then buy the other Overlord. It looks like they're just switching to Delve money, though.
Yeah. I don't think that was it.
Well, they didn't need that money, but okay.
Well, I mean, they discarded 1 money, basically.
So the thing you said with Camel Train Overlord, basically, 2 laboratories costs 10 money and 2 buys. Camel Training an Overlord and then buying an Overlord costs 1 action and 8 money. So it takes a buy less and 2 money less to do the Camel Train Overlord trick. And you can play those Overlords as other things too, like Count or Workers' Village.
Yes.
However,
You also can, like, Camel Train twice and then buy Overlord once.
Yeah. We're about to see the laboratory pile go away, which we didn't expect. In which case, we would not want to buy that many Overlords once the lab pile is empty. Yeah, I mean, the Overlord can play as Workers' Village, but I would want to have, going by the H-roll plan, which I don't know if I would have seen right away. You saw it immediately. I would basically want to pile Overlords before I bought any other Kingdom cards, other than maybe the 1 Camel Train to start us off with.
If you have a lot of Overlords, you will be also gaining the labs pretty fast.
Yeah, because you can just start drawing deck, and then you play 2 Overlords as villages, 2 as Camel Trains to exile labs, and then you buy a lab, and all of a sudden you've added 3 labs to your deck. And then what happens when you have 10 Overlords and 10 labs? Well, the game is just ending. You're piling something, or you're figuring something out to pile. Your opponent is crying and resigning because you're buying all the things. So Elijah is now massively overdrawing their deck. Is that a good characterization?
Yeah. They have, 8 labs and 5 stop cards.
They overdrew their deck this turn, and they trashed 5 cards and added a lab. So there's some thought to not touching the last lab as either player. Whoever has more Overlords, I guess, might consider doing that. Because you can still play your labs as... So I guess Elijah should definitely buy the last lab, or exile the last lab and get rid of it, just so to deny it from Snowbz. Because it seems like Elijah's in a pretty commanding position here, in my view.
Yeah, they don't need more labs.
They can just buy a ton of silvers now.
At this turn, but...
Oh, yeah. I mean, they can play Gladiator.
They can play Overlord as Camel or Gladiator.
Yeah, they're the only one with a forge, so the Gladiator costs... The Gladiator gives 3, and the nice part of that is that their deck is in position to take advantage of the fortune, because they have all the draw. So like Overlord here is Gladiator, gets them out of debt. They could also forge... There's not really anything they can forge for money, right? They could forge lab, copper, and account. But that doesn't seem...
Yikes.
Yeah. Maybe they should have not taken so much debt last turn. They could have not got an Overlord last turn.
Oh, yeah. They could gain touch copper and then draw it.
What are they doing? They're forging it into what? Gatekeeper? Count?
But,
I'm not quite sure what, like... Well, if you... Oh, so I mean, the long-term plan is delve silver. So you delve for a silver, you count into duchy, copper, and then you remodel that into province, is one trick you could do. I guess you can also go with state silver into count here. But you're action limited, so you're still not making any more money than just playing the Overlord as... Nothing I'm seeing is making more money than just playing the Overlord as Gladiator for this turn to get them out of debt. And then next turn they can start doing some tricks. Because you really want to delve like 4 or 5 times this next turn as Elijah. Because you have so much draw here that you can support all those extra silvers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the most money would have been count for 3 money and 1 copper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess that is then what we should do.
But not like...
I mean...
okay, you took Overlord as Workers' Village, and then draw the cow, play it, draw the... We have so much overdraw to work.
Yeah. I like playing the Gladiator because Elijah's deck could build to the huge mega turn we talked about at the beginning with Fortune. So, like, lower the Gladiator pile this turn, next turn, and then, 2 turns plan on buying the Fortune, and then in 3 turns plan on buying all the remaining provinces. But it looks like we're going count copper coins and then drawing it.
This line seems just worse than the reveal forge line, and since we didn't play count,
yeah,
only 1 money worth.
And this turn we have an extra.
Guaranteed.
We have an extra terminal because we're not going to play the forge, I assume, this turn.
Yeah.
But it also seems pretty easy for Elijah to build a deck that forges into a province and buys a province every turn for 2 turns, and that seems sufficient here to win. Snowbz only has the couple of labs, and the Overlords are just going to be basically Village Gladiator, Village Count, or something.
Forge there.
So yeah, SportingElijah here is overdrawing by 8, minimum of 8 here, which tells us that we have basically room to buy 8 cards. And so if you can hit 10 money, you could buy a Masterpiece, overpay 7, and add 7 silvers and a Masterpiece to your deck, and you can still draw it all. I don't know that I would be that risky, but that's close to like what we can use. So Gladiator here, revealing Forge, gets us 3, 6, 9, 7, so we could Masterpiece and gain 4 silvers. That seems like a pretty good turn. And then next turn we do whatever we want. We've got so much money. And we can forge the Masterpiece and stuff into provinces and so on. I guess I've sort of assumed they've not noticed Camel Train. Is I think at this point, because also Elijah could be Camel Training an Overlord every turn. And we're seeing sort of the problem with the Overlords is they no longer can play labs, so it's difficult to have huge turns of Snowbz, but they still have a fairly nice deck, and they're able to generate what looks like 14 coins here. Are you still there, Adriel?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to ponder what I would do here.
It's complicated. Like,
Yeah.
I think as Elijah, you just commit to building and saying, I'm going to let you get to 4 provinces, and I'm going to try to catch up at the end.
I think let's start the provincing now.
I mean, I think, Cave, what we were thinking at the beginning of this match was that the Overlord pile would empty by like turn 5.
Alright, but that's an exaggeration, I think. But
okay, turn 7.
yeah,
Very, very quickly. Very, very quickly, the Overlord pile would empty. Look at the labs go. So this is a nice... As I say, it's a nice play order by Elijah, but they have so many labs it doesn't matter. So here they can gain again. We can do the Duchy Copper thing. Draw it all. Forge stuff into province by province. I also, would like to be Camel Training Overlords. Because you could do a lot more with more actions and more gladiators and stuff, but I think we've passed that point.
Yeah, I'd like to forge my Duchy and Masterpiece.
Yeah, sadly there's nothing really to play the Overlord as. Other than Workers' Village for another buy. And we've got 11 money at the end of this, so we could buy like Province Delve, perhaps.
I guess trash the popper then. Beware. My bad.
Yeah, we had the coin in play from Duration Caravan card, I guess.
I don't know about gaining Gladiator.
Their current deck makeup has 1 terminal slot available to us, so maybe that's what they're thinking. If they're playing both Overlords as Workers' Villages. I still even at this point, well, I just don't see how neither player has a Camel Train in deck, but like Camel Train is maybe at this point too late. But I really don't see how Elijah can miss getting a bunch of provinces. Although this turn, I guess this turn they can just happily take one province. Snowbz has a little bit of a sad dud, although, again, they've only got 2 labs compared to the 8 that Elijah has. So bottom cards has a lab in there, so we can draw here. It's lab silver, I believe. We can play the count. Overlord has Workers Village. Play the lab. I don't see any reason not to gain a copper here.
I think this card too.
If we're playing
depending on what you're doing, I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, if we're playing the Overlord as Workers Village, then it doesn't actually matter what we do. Top decking, discarding 2 and gain copper, we actually draw all of those, so it doesn't really matter what we do, which is fun. I would have gained the copper just because if we're drawing it anyways, it gives us the chance to get 1 more money if for some reason we need that.
Okay.
I guess we don't. I mean, we could double province duchy here, I believe, but no, we just double province and then can we double province duchy? We don't have quite enough money, so I think we probably take 1 province and then don't touch provinces because Snowbz has the forge and we're slightly worried.
And so just buy fortune.
Man, that's a lot of money. We generated 11.
Maybe I'll make 11 money next turn.
Plus the gold.
Yeah.
So the gold gets us to 28, gets us to 14 to 28, and then we pay the 5 debt. We're at 23. It just doesn't seem necessary. Yeah, Province Estate is fine. I don't know that Province Estate is fine. They've got, like, I'm imagining the perfect possible turn where Snowbz draws the forge off the top of the shuffle, and then mills lab silver into province. Workers count gains, Overlord count gains duchy, buys province. That just doesn't seem possible. But I think there's no possible way they triple province in the turn. So we're pretty happy to. So the Workers' Village is equivalent to a count for 4, the way this is playing, because they're playing their Overlords as Workers' Villages every turn. So if that's what you're thinking, like, how do I get a count, then Overlord as count seems to work. So then they play the Workers' Villages naturally, and then the... honestly, they could have passed buying for 11, and that probably wins too. Does that make sense? I think if you pass by there, SportingElijah with the 11, it wins too. So taking Workers' Villages is a pretty innocuous card to take. And it lets us play our Gladiator, our count as both our Overlords as counts. This should be a fairly easy triple. Am I crazy? You're gaining... Maybe it's hard to hit 8 coins, but...
Well, that's not how you triple.
Yeah, so we're easily able to get double province. The question is, can we do more than that? So we might as well draw on here. There's another Overlord down there.
If the first count has been for 3 money, this would already be double province.
And then
they need 1 more plus action.
Yeah. So they can play Lab, Caravan Guard, Overlord as Workers' Village. And then last Overlord as count. Yeah, if we gained copper coins with the first count, I think it's really easily double and milling province. I think Sporting could still win here.
Seems harder than before, for sure.
Yeah, they would have to draw the copper on the reshuffle. What is the bottom? What is the card down there with the?
Oh, we have another silver.
I think it's.
I don't remember anymore.
I think they only have 4 silvers. They have an Overlord down there.
An Overlord, right? Yeah.
It was the last province. Okay. So if Overlord is count, gain coins, copper, gives you a 50-50 chance of winning, or whatever that's worth. But we can potentially mill a province by a duchy. And yeah, that feels good enough as a turn. I think it is basically impossible for Snowbz to win at this point. 16 points would require province, 2 duchies, and 4 estates to tie. Yeah, so interesting game there. Divergent strategies. I think both missed Overlords and Snowbz, I think, could have caught up with Camel training and getting more labs, but with the lab split the way it was, Elijah got the win. And we move on to game 4.